Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner?
I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody. Yay! Oh, gosh. Am I on?
Yeah. Camera, lights, action.
Barbara, a Greek whole wheat dessert with nuts and pomegranate. Varvara, Asoure y hilos. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. As always, if you need to reach me, zoesblindkitchencorner@gmail.com or whoseblindlifeisanyway@gmail.com. You can watch us on Facebook through Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway. You can also catch us on Twitter at Blind Who's through Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway. We're on podcasts everywhere. And that's it. That's all. So, if you need to reach me, you can also comment in the section below. And if you have a recipe request, need a clarification, or just a comment, or just want to say hello, by all means, I'm here for you guys. Alrighty, today we have something very different. We're making dessert. It's time for dessert. What are we making? Are we making a cake? No. Are we making a pie? No. Are we making cookies? No. We're making Barbara. Yes, you heard me right. Barbara, as in the woman's name, Barbara. We're making something called Barbara. In Greek, it is called Varvara. So that's the Greek version of Barbara. Instead of B's, we use the letter V as in Victor, Varvara, and we stretch out the syllables. So Barbara, Varvara. So a little bit of a difference, but same name. This dessert in the north part of Greece is called Varvara, Barbara. On the islands of Greece, it's called hilos, which really means a batter, like a pancake batter or a batter for fish or something, or that type of thing. Okay, it's something where you flour, water, and you make a batter. That's what it's called, hilos. So some people on the islands call this hilos. In, like I said, in northern Greece, they call it Barbara. And there is another name for it too, which is called Asoure, but not many people use that. It's more well known as Barbara. Why is it called Barbara? Did a woman named Barbara make it? No. The reason it's called Barbara is because one of the saints in the Orthodox faith is Saint Barbara, who was a young girl who was orphaned of a mother, lived with her father. She was very beautiful. Father had locked her up in a type of castle, let's say, and they were idolaters. But Barbara came into, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, she came into the realization of God and Jesus, and she decided to become a Christian. Her father didn't agree and basically pursued her and wanted to kill her, and so on and so forth. And she's a martyr of the Orthodox faith. She was martyred for her faith in Christ at a young age. I think she was 15, I believe. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful story. You can actually look it up on Google, Saint Barbara's life, and you'll find the whole story, which is very beautiful. So Saint Barbara is celebrated on December 4th of every year. And actually, December 4th is in a period of a fasting where we're getting ready for the nativity fast, for the fast, for December 25th, Christmas, or whatever you want to call it, where Jesus was born, and that's what we celebrate. Well, her feast day falls in that period. So obviously this is a dessert that's vegan. However, it's not nut-free. So if you have allergies to nuts, this recipe is not for you. Having said that, This recipe is so healthy, people eat it all year round. And the reason they named it Barbara is because they would make this on December 4th in the honor of Saint Barbara, offering her something sweet and to honor her and ask for her prayers. So that's how the name came about. So in Greece, you actually might hear somebody, oh yeah, I'm going home to make some Barbara. Okay? So I know it sounds funny, but you know, that's the story behind it. Okay, so before I tell you the ingredients, I just want to mention something. I've been mentioning about subscribing to my channel and how supportive it is for me or for Victor on Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway, because that encourages us and supports us and tells us our hard work isn't for nothing. An example of this is somebody today made a comment of how talented I am, and according to them, I'm not saying I'm talented, that this is how they spoke of me, that I'm talented and that they think people should like and share my videos and subscribe to my channel, and basically they honored me. The reason I mention this is I've gotten lots of good feedback, but I mention this because sometimes the littlest thing, the littlest words, especially coming from someone who you love to the moon and back, for somebody who I love more than my life. My spicy jewel, you know who you are. I love you so much. And to know that you think I'm talented really, really humbles me. And I just want you to know that I admire you, I love you, and I wish I could be a lot more like you. Thank you so much. Alrighty, let's get the trusted iPad and let's get the ingredients read out because, well, I don't remember them all. No, you know what it is? It's not so much that I don't remember them. Hold on. Okay. Come on. My poor mom. She needs a new iPad. Yeah, anyway. Okay. Okay. The reason I'm going to read them out to you is because I actually took the time out to weigh everything in grams for you guys, because everybody's cups are different. Okay. So right off the bat, we need 2 pinches of salt, which is back there. 3 grams, 1 level teaspoon, which is 3 grams of cinnamon. 1 cup, 160 grams of golden raisins. 1 cup, 145 grams of chopped walnuts. Half a cup of roasted sesame seeds, which is 75 grams. Half a cup of 60 grams of all-purpose roasted flour. 192 grams, it's back there, sugar, which is 3/4 cup. Half a cup, 75 grams of pomegranate kernels, meaning fresh pomegranate. Half cup, 70 grams of ground almonds. I have it in the pot. We need 6 cups of water, which is 1.5 liters. And we need our last, and for topping this, you can top it with pomegranate extra cinnamon and extra nuts if you want. We'll talk about that later. The other thing you need is this. This is 300 grams of whole wheat. Period. Not whole wheat flour. Actual wheat. The kernels. Without, I don't know what to call it, the outer shell, outer skin. Without the outer skin. Now, for us, for Greeks, we can just go to a Greek bakery and it's right there in front of us. Okay? I don't know, I'm sure that you could probably find it at a bulk store, maybe even at the supermarket. Definitely at a Greek bakery. You need to get whole wheat kernels, not ground, not flour, kernels. But they also need to be without the outer skin or whatever it's called. Okay? So that's our ingredients. Now, the hard part of this recipe is roasting your sesame seeds and your flour. There's two ways to do it. One way is grab a frying pan, put it on your burner, turn on the heat, let the frying pan heat up, and then add your sesame seeds, constantly stirring for a few minutes until your sesame seeds are roasted. Same with the flour. The other way to do it is to take your sesame seeds. I've got a pan here. Just a stainless steel pan. Where's my sesame seeds? This one, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pour your sesame seeds into your pan. Just want to make sure I got them all, that none stuck to the bowl. Nope, we're good. Okay. Shake it so all the spread them out. You want the whole pan to be covered. It's a little hard to do, but you can do it. Okay. Oops, there's a lot there. And put it in the oven, middle rack, on convect bake or quick bake, or it's the fan forced. Put it on 390 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. So which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm just, oops. Okay. Is it in the middle? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 10 minutes. Let's set the timer. Okay. And we'll come back in 10 minutes and then we'll do the flour. Okay, see you then. So, I smelled... Sorry, I'm going to come this way because I'm sweating and the window's behind me. Sorry about that. I set my timer for 10 minutes. But experience tells me that just because a recipe says 10 minutes doesn't mean that that's how long it needs for something like this. Roasting sesame seeds. Okay, so I smelt my sesame seeds roasting. A nice fragrance, not a burnt fragrance. So I took them out because they're ready. If I had left them in for the full 10 minutes, they would have burnt. Okay? It took 6 minutes. So I'm just going to set this aside to cool. Give me a second. Okay. I'm going to stop the timer. And I'm going to set it for 20 minutes. Okay, now we're going to roast the flour. I have roasted flour before, but a big amount. This is a small amount. I'm going to pour the flour into another aluminum pan. I'm tapping the bowl to make sure everything got out. Everything got out. Shake the pan lightly because you don't want flour to fly all over the place. Spread out the flour and shake it and spread it out. You're going to roast your flour for about 20 minutes. Now, remember what I said about the sesame seeds? It took 4 minutes less. With the flour, you're going to roast for about 20 minutes. You're going to stir at least 2 to 3 times. I believe mine will be done in about 15 minutes. You don't want to over roast your flour because then it becomes bitter. Okay? So I'm going to put this in the oven and we'll be back in 20 minutes. Okay, guys. So my flour roasted in the oven, in the middle of the oven at 390 degrees Celsius for 12 minutes. I guess my oven is strong. So how do you know when it's ready? Look at it. Like I looked at it at around the 15-minute mark, 15-minute mark. I'm sorry, 5 or 6 minute mark. I stirred it up, spread it out again, put it back in the oven, and I went to check on it at the 12-minute mark. And when I opened up the oven, I got a fragrance in my nose. That means that it's good enough. Because if you over roast your flour, it's going to get bitter. So I re-poured it into a bowl. Now, our sesame seeds have been cooling down. They've cooled down already. I have my magic bullet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them, my roasted sesame seeds. I'm just using my hands. I'm putting them in my magic bullet container. You could do it in a blender or a Vitamix, or if you have a really good high-powered food processor. I don't. Too lazy to pull out my blender. Plus, I think this is a small amount, and I think that the bullet will do the job. Okay, let's see if I can tip it over without spilling it now. Where's my funnels? Let me see if I can get my funnel out because I don't want to lose any of my sesame seeds. Hold on. Now, where would I have put them? I did find a funnel, but it's not a wide mouth funnel. I did have one here, but it's not here anymore. I don't know if this will work. What do I mean I don't know if this will work? Sesame seeds are very small. Sorry, I lost my breath. They'll go through the tube of the funnel, but can I... Oh yeah, okay, it'll sit on my magic bullet container, and that way I have a wider mouth to work with. There we go. I think I'm not spilling any. Doesn't sound like I am. So I'm going slow so that I don't spill any. If you like tahini, then you know why I don't want to lose any sesame seeds. Because now we're going to ground our roasted sesame seeds. I'm almost there. Be patient with me. Barbara, like all women, you have to have patience. Now, I could have prepared this all off camera and just told you guys, roast your sesame seeds and then ground them. But you know what? I want to give blind people a chance to know, sighted people know, well, not all of them, but a lot of them. I want to give blind people a chance to see how I do things so they can see that it can be done and how easy it is. Okay, we're pretty much done. There's a couple of seeds. I just wiped up the pan to get the last of them. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now, if you lose 5 seeds, oh well. Yeah, I keep saying that, and I keep wiping the pan and pouring more in. Okay, good enough. Let's get rid of the funnel. And there's all our sesame seeds. Did I spill any? No. Okay. So let's pulse them in the bullet. Let's put the cap on so that we don't spill them. Now, I don't know about the Vitamix because I've never used one. The bullet, because it's got a high-powered motor, however, I think there's more powerful ones out there now. Let me put this aside so I don't spill it. That's bugging me. Okay. You gotta pause for 10 seconds and give the motor a break. Okay? So, I'm gonna pause for 10 seconds. Shake it up. Pulse again. What's going on? Shake it all up again. So you pick up the container off the machine, give it a shake. So you distribute everything again, redistribute, and pulse again. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on hold because I'm probably going to have to do this a few times. That was my 3rd time. Okay, so I don't want you sitting here watching me pulse, doing the same thing over and over again, and you watching me or listening to this loud motor. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys. Ha! I put you on hold for nothing. Because after the 3rd time, I was going to do it a 4th time, and a 5th, and a 6th, or how many times it needed. But of course I said, let me check on it first, right? So hold on a sec. Okay. I said, let me check on it first, so I know, approximately how many more times do I need? Well, the 3 times was enough. It's done. So, it's pretty much, it kind of feels like almond paste. That's what I would say. Yeah, almond paste. So, set this aside. I'm just removing whatever's on the blade into the container. Okay, anyways, let's move on to the next step. The next step. The night before you're going to make this dessert, measure out 300 grams of your whole wheat kernels. Put them in a bowl, cover them with water, plenty of water, like to the top of the bowl, and put plastic wrap on top and let them sit all night. There's nothing set in stone. It doesn't have to be 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Like for me, it's about 13, 14 hours because I put them in last night before I went to bed, but it's whatever, it's afternoon. Now, I have one of these Chinese rice strainers, which is really good because that means I don't need help. So you just take one of these. I got it from Amazon. You put it in your sink, pick up your wheat kernels that are in water, and dump them into the strainer. Okay. This is a very important step. You cannot miss this step. You need to soak the wheat all night. The only thing I'm concerned about is, did I use a bowl that's too small? We will find out when the dessert is done. So imagine how healthy this is, right? Sesame seeds, cinnamon, pomegranate, raisins, walnuts, almonds, and wheat, and sugar. Now I'm using like an organic sugar, but it doesn't matter. You can use white sugar. You can use coconut sugar. You can use whatever your heart desires. I'm not using coconut sugar in this one today just because, I don't know why. I just decided to do the original. And at some point, actually, I'll tell you why. I've never tried this with the coconut sugar. That's the reason I'm not doing it with the coconut sugar. I do intend to try it. Now, I've added the water and the wheat kernels into the strainer. And the way this strainer works is it's flat. You add something and then you tip it so all the water can come out of. It looks like an astronaut's hat. And now you're going to run the wheat under your tap water. In my case, remember, I don't use tap water. So I've got a bin, just like washing rice. You need to wash your wheat now and make sure that when the water runs, it runs clear. Blind people, how are you going to know? Set a timer for 2 minutes, open up your tap, cold water full blast, and wash your wheat for at least 2 minutes. And that's how you're going to do it. I'm using a jug of spring water. And this is how I'm going to do it. Now you're going to have to stop, strain the water out, and again. Okay? So give me a few minutes to wash this and we'll be back. Guys, so I washed it. Water's running clear according to sighted confirmation. If I didn't have sighted confirmation, I'd just keep doing it for about 2 minutes. Okay? So now take your wheat, go over to your pot that's on your burner, and we said in here we've got 1.5 liters of water. Throw your wheat in. So I'm just pushing all the wheat with my hands, with my fingers, out of the strainer into the pot. Yes, and some is going to stick to the strainer, so you have to fight with it. Let's turn on our heat. Turn your heat on high until this comes to a rapid boil. Once it comes to a rapid boil, I'm going to turn my heat down to medium, and I'm still adding wheat in. I'm going to turn my heat down to medium, and I'm going to boil it for 15 minutes. And then we're going to move on to the next step. So in the meantime, while we're doing all this, we washed our wheat. We're adding it to our pot. We ground our sesame seeds. Your flour that you roasted is cooling down, right? So now while I wait for this to boil, I am going to put you guys on hold, and I'm actually going to maybe wash some of my dishes, wash my strainer, etc., etc., etc. So once this comes to a boil, cover it, 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, guys, so our wheat has come to a boil. So I'm just dumping some sea salt into my hand, and I'm going to add in 1 pinch and 2 pinches. 2 pinches of salt. I need to, get this off my hand. Okay, we're going to turn down our heat to medium. Okay, I'm going to give it a stir just because I added the salt. Okay, so I've stirred it up. I've added the salt, and I'm going to cap it, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay, guys. 5 seconds left on our timer. Our wheat has been boiling, covered on medium for 15 minutes. I'm going to give it a stir. And at this point, make sure there's quite a bit of liquid in here, which I feel quite a bit of liquid, okay? So if there isn't, maybe add a cup of water, okay? So take your sugar and add it in. And stir. And take this off my hands. Mm-hmm. Take your 1 level teaspoon of cinnamon, which is 3 grams. Sugar was 192 grams, 3/4 cup. And add your cinnamon in. There's it all out. Mm-hmm. Okay. Stir well. Oh my God, now that we've added the cinnamon in. Okay. Okay, we need for our sugar to dissolve for a few minutes. And then we're going to start adding in our wheat slowly. While I'm waiting for the sugar to dissolve and I'm stirring, I got to tell you that we actually use wheat. So wheat in the fields. If it falls to the ground, it sprouts out again. It grows again. So wheat for the Orthodox faith signifies the rising of the dead, the second coming, the resurrection. So we actually boil wheat up, add nuts, raisins, pomegranate, parsley, a little bit of parsley. Everything signifies something, a little bit of sugar. Not in this form. This is a different form. We don't add sugar to that. We add very little sugar, but not in a pot. It's something else. And we take it to church to commemorate those who have passed away. So, for example, my father has passed away. So I would boil up, I'm stirring all this time. I would boil up wheat, strain it, add a little bit of sugar in a bowl, nuts, mix it all up with the wheat, add some pomegranate and parsley, mix it all up. And then I would take it to church in the bowl and I would give it to the father, the priest, and my father's name, which is Mark. And the priest would read prayers over the bowl of wheat on my father's behalf who has passed away. And this is very, very important in our faith because, like I said, we're waiting for the resurrection of the living and the dead, the second coming. And while we wait for that to happen, the prayers help the souls that have passed already. Okay, I'm going to start adding in my flour. I have the bowl in my hands. I'm going to be stirring and adding it in slowly. Remember our roasted flour. So I added in a little bit. Now, when this is done, I have to tell you that it's going to look watery, maybe a little bit watery, but eventually, as it cools, it'll thicken up. Okay, let's add a little more in. So remember, we boiled up our wheat with 2 pinches of salt. We let it boil covered for 15 minutes in 1.5 liters of water. And then we added in our sugar and cinnamon, stirred it up for a while to dissolve the sugar. And now we're slowly adding in our roasted flour while stirring. Because you don't want your wheat, your flour, you don't want all these things to stick to your pot. Let's add in a little more. So I add a little bit in and I stir. Stir, 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 stir. Slowly. I'm stirring slowly. I don't want to mush my wheat. You don't want your wheat to become mush, but you want your flour to dissolve into the water and sugar. You're making almost like a pudding. Well, this is actually what it is, a pudding. And I have to tell you, the steam coming up from the pot has the smell of the cinnamon in it. And it smells fantastic. Cinnamon is a wonderful, wonderful smelling spice. Let's add in a little more. And stir again. And this might be a little boring for you guys watching this, but you see, the reason I'm not putting you on hold is because you can see how slowly I'm doing it. Now, if you have sight, as you do this, you can kind of see, you know, when the flour sort of dissolves. But if you're not sighted, doesn't matter. Add it in, just keep stirring. Stir for a minute or so, and then add your next batch in. Okay, let's add in a little more. Now, if you make this a few times, you will decide the consistency that you like. Do you want it thicker? Do you want it thinner? Some people who have experience making this, once they add in all their flour, they kind of know, I'd like to add in another teaspoon. Okay, they're not going to roast another teaspoon. They're just going to add in an extra teaspoon. It's really up to you. You're trying to get, when your spoon is coated like pudding and it's starting to thicken up, it's pretty much ready. So let's add in some more. It's the last bit, actually. Thank you. So I've added in the last bit. I think I might have been a little bit quick there. I should have maybe added it. The last that was left, I should have added it in 2 parts, but that's okay. It's not lost. And remember that this is going to thicken up as it cools, okay? And remember, we're going to add in a whole bunch of other ingredients. So now we need to let this boil for a few minutes. Once the flour dissolves, and I'm sure it has not dissolved yet from my experience, like just like when I added in the rest of the flour, we stirred it for a while. So I'm waiting for it to stir up for a while, and then I'm gonna wait. Let it thicken up a little and boil for a few minutes. Now, you're gonna say to me, how do you know if it's boiling? Well, you can let go, stop stirring, and listen. But I wouldn't do it because it may stick. You may burn it. So while you're stirring, believe me, it's still boiling. It's boiling gently. Okay, so I need to wait for this to boil for a few minutes. And once I feel like I'm getting some on my spoon by touching it, ow, I just burnt myself, which is almost, I actually just touched the spoon. And I'm getting a thick layer. So I'm just going to test again, because I was going to put you guys on hold, but hold on. Yeah. Just a few more minutes. And we're done. Just a few more minutes. Now I'm stirring very slowly, because I don't want to mush my wheat. Now, if you mush a little bit, because you overstirred or you boiled a little bit too much, it's not lost. Okay, let's test the spoon. Actually, I'm going to grab some wheat and put it in my mouth to see. Oh, it's good. should have a little bite to it. It shouldn't be, I've stopped stirring right now. I'm going to give it a chance to boil up for about 2-3 minutes. Your wheat should be tender, but there should be a bite to it. It shouldn't be mush. And that's exactly where mine is right now. So now I'm going to let this boil for 2-3 minutes, and I'm going to take it off the heat. Okay, so we'll be back in 3 minutes. Okay, guys. So I kept on checking on it. And at the 10-minute mark of boiling and stirring occasionally, I added in another teaspoon of flour. Don't imagine, I've turned off the heat and I'm going to pull it off while I talk to you guys. Don't imagine that you're going to get like a thick pudding texture. It should thicken up a little bit. And add your flour in slowly so that it dissolves. So you don't get little balls of flour. Now, I did get a few. They're still cooked. Don't worry, you're not even going to taste them. Okay, but basically dissolve everything really well. And I let mine boil for about 15 minutes altogether after I added in the flour. So after I added in the flour, I let it boil for 10 minutes. I added another teaspoon of flour and I let it boil for another 5 minutes. Now I've pulled it off the heat. This should look watery in the pot and it should feel watery with a touch of thickness. Okay? If you lift up the spoon, you should be able to feel the, like, how can I describe it? Like a syrup on your spoon. If you're feeling a syrup, that's good. Okay? Now, the more you make this, you'll decide how thick you want it. Because when this cools down, it is going to thicken up. Okay? So now, we've pulled it off the heat. It stopped boiling, but it's hot. I'm going to take my tahini, or my ground sesame, roasted ground sesame seeds. Which, what is that really? It is really tahini. That's how you make tahini. Okay? Add it all in to your hot mixture. Okay, let's give it a stir. Oh boy. Now my mouth is watering. See, now that I've added in the tahini, it's even starting to get even thicker, right? So that's why be careful with the flour. And like I said, once you make this, you'll understand how thick you like it or how thin you like it. I added an extra teaspoon of flour, but you don't have to. Okay. Now let's add in our, not this, ground almonds. Add all that in. Don't ground your almonds to a paste. Well, you can if you want to. I didn't do it to a paste. I did it like sand. Stir that up. Be gentle while stirring because you don't want to mush your wheat. But you want all this to become mixed well. Okay, let's add in our raisins, which in this liquid, so the golden raisins, okay, I'm adding them in now, which in this hot liquid thing, they're going to plump up. And let's stir again. So there's a lot of raisins in here and almonds and sesame seeds and the wheat, sugar, cinnamon, flour. Okay. And the wheat. Okay, let's add in our walnuts, chopped up walnuts. And stir again. Oh boy. My mouth is watering. I can't wait. I don't like this hot. This has to thicken up. I like it room temperature type of thing. Maybe even cold. But definitely room temperature. See, it's already now, you're adding ingredients in, right? And your sugar, remember, your sugar was boiling for like 15 minutes. So it's become a syrup. And then you have your flour that's going to thicken this up, plus your ground sesame, plus your ground almonds, and then everything else. Okay. And the last thing we add in is our pomegranate. Now, I love pomegranate, so I was going to say if you don't like it, don't add it in. Well, obviously this, whatever you like, you're going to add in. But I'm making this the traditional way, and there's nothing in here that I personally don't like. I love nuts. I love raisins. I love cinnamon sugar. I love pomegranate. See, it's already starting to thicken up. Oh, now that we added the pomegranate, I guess because it's hot, you know, the fragrance is coming up. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay. Once you've mixed everything up, be careful, it's still very hot. You're going to serve it into bowls and wait till it cools down. So, I mean, you know how to serve into bowls. I'm not going to sit and show you how to serve. I've showed you many times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into bowls and I'm going to wait for this to cool down and I'll come back and show you the final product. See you then. Okay, guys. So we've served our Barbara dessert into dessert bowls, glass dessert bowls. And it's cooling down and thickening up. And we've sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon on top and some pomegranate kernels on top. If you want, you can also sprinkle a few more walnuts and raisins. I don't, but some people do. Some people sprinkle, you know, they might put 2-3 raisins in the middle and a border of pomegranate around the bowl, and then a couple of walnuts around the raisins, and then some cinnamon on top. You can make little designs. I don't. I just put cinnamon and pomegranate, and it's cooled down, not completely, but it's warm now. And I'm going to wait for them to cool down completely, and I'm going to eat some, and the rest I'm going to put in the fridge. You can eat it cold out of the fridge. You can take it out of the fridge and let it come to room temperature. I guess you could warm it up a little if you want to, too. Doesn't matter. This is a preference thing, how you want. So, a very easy dessert, if you really think about it. The only, I guess, hard part is the roasting of the flour and the sesame seeds. You can actually do that from the day before. Actually, this is a pretty good make-ahead dessert. You can do it, you can do the flour and the sesame. You can roast the flour and the sesame seeds, ground the sesame seeds, get all your ingredients ready. The next day, boil up the wheat, add sugar and the salt, the sugar, the cinnamon, boil it up for about 15 minutes while you add the flour in slowly, and then take it off the heat, add in the ground sesame seeds, and all the almonds, the walnuts, the raisins, and the pomegranate, and serve it in bowls. Let it cool down, put it in the fridge, and serve it the next day. It's up to you. It's a very healthy dessert. I'm not even using refined sugar. You could use coconut palm sugar. You could use, I wouldn't recommend things like xylitol because you want to make a syrup. I would do either brown sugar, coconut palm sugar, organic raw cane sugar, organic sugar, or your regular white refined sugar. It's up to you. So that's it for our recipe. I'm actually it hasn't cooled down completely, but I'm gonna take a little bit, just so you can see. See? It's already starting to thicken up, right? It's not watery. So let me taste it. Give me a second. I think I put a little bit too much in my mouth, but these are nuts, right? You gotta chew. I don't want to swallow them. Okay. Oh my God. If you're a lover of nuts like me, pomegranate like me, cinnamon like me, something sweet, sugar, oh my God. Healthy, healthy, healthy. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Guys, please make this. You'll remember me. You might have a little bit of a hard time finding the whole wheat, but ask the supermarket. If not, get to a Greek bakery. I'm sure that not just the Greek culture uses the whole wheat kernels. Okay? So, anyways, I think I will put the Greeklish, which is basically the Greek words, but with English letters, not with the Greek alphabet. I will put it into the ingredients box. So, sitari is wheat. Apofliomeno, sitari apofliomeno, which means it's the kernels without the outer shell or whatever they have, skin or whatever it is. And I will put it in there, so if you want, you can copy that and then print it out and take it to a Greek bakery and say, this is what I'm looking for, the whole wheat, and this is what I was told it's called in Greek. They will read it in Greeklish and they will understand and they will give it to you. Yeah, that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you make it. If you do, let me know. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on next week's episode. Love you. Bye. I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.